It's all about being authentic, right? You need to be authentic which is where a lot of students nowadays are not thinking that way. I was big into sport as well, so I played a couple of sports, but I took kind of golf kind of seriously. So a small college first for 1 year. This is in Iowa. I went to Waldorf College for my first year. Most applicants, right? The time you start this whole process, it doesn't leave you too much time to really make drastic changes to your profile.
Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the dream that is to study abroad, right? It's unlike anything, anybody who's never done it probably will not have an idea or will not be able to imagine what it is like. So can you talk to me a little bit about, your first day on campus? What was that like?
Getting to campus, your first impressions are, wow. I mean, you've never seen anything like it, because when you come from India, and at least from Mumbai especially, I mean, you're not seeing these sprawling campuses. We have some lovely ones in the country and in Mumbai as well, like Kalina, etc. But I mean, these are different. These are so beautifully done, and they're massive, and it's just so organized, and you don't see a soul. It's so vast. You don't see people. You come from a country where you're struggling for peace and quiet, and all of a sudden you're hearing the sound of your own breath. There's no horns. There's nothing. Uh, so I mean, those are big changes. I remember getting to the dorm room, getting up to finding my room, and plonking my stuff there, and then being like, silence. Just I could hear some distant voices and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, what do I do? Like, where do I start now, right? Who do I meet? And then things just happen, right? Someone's walking down the corridor, they see your door open, they come in, they're like, hey. Everyone's technically in the same boat, so everyone wants to meet somebody. So that's the beauty of it, right? So you're not alone, even though you're alone. Everyone else technically is thinking the same, that it's all new to everybody, even the local students, right? So even the American students that were there, their first time too, right? So they don't know anybody, so they're also looking forward to meeting people and hoping that it's easy for them to ease in, especially when they're meeting people from all over the world. So yeah, some of these were like very interesting first sort of impressions, right? And I remember, the big one. I mean, it's a bit of a controversial one, but yeah, I mean, toilet paper when you come from India, right? I mean, that's a big cultural change for us too. So not going to dive into depth with that, but you guys know what I mean. So things like that even. And then when you hit the sack at night, no ceiling fan. So I mean, it was and I'm talking about getting there in August, so it was still like fall. It's hot, it's warm. So there's nothing. Still air, hear the sound of your own breath, no horns outside, no people chatting. It was quiet, right? So I mean, those were some big changes to first up, right? Those initial days, this is what it felt like. And then you start meeting people, then you start then you start finding, it starts with 1 or 2 or 3 people, and then now you suddenly have like a group of 5 that you go into the dining hall with. Then you're meeting people more. Then once classes start, that's a whole new thing. That when you're an international student, you have international student orientation, right? So you're meeting other international students there. Big help, because now suddenly you're not alone. Now you find that, wow, you're actually better off than some of the others there, right? Because they're a lot more uncomfortable. So you're there now trying to help them, right? So all these sort of build these bonds very strong initially, and then you start expanding that circle from then on.
So you came back. Did you ever sort of go back? You told me you also did a master's. Did you ever go back to study again abroad?
So I worked for a good 3.5 years in total before I started up, before I applied. And then as I started again doing the same process of, now at this point, a lot more online tools were available to try to research on universities. The ranking sites were up, and I could start looking. Again, just caveat here, all this was on my own. I never went to a consultant. We'll come back to that. But so as I started shortlisting universities, again, I wanted to look at universities in India too. Like ISB was coming up and was big then, so I knew that was going to be on my radar. IIMs were always on the radar, but then I just didn't even. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna bust it out for my cats, right? I was like, I'm much rather focus on something more realistic, because I didn't think I had what it takes. I would never know. I've never tried it, so I don't know. But I knew that, okay, ISB was definitely one option, and then I'm going to try my GMAT, because I just felt like I wanted, again, my perspective, having studied abroad for my undergrad, was international orientation and a global mindset. To me, that mattered a lot, because I found a distinct difference between my thinking and my colleagues in India. Big difference, just because of that perspective. And I was like, I want that perspective. I want to hone that further, because that is the future. That is the way, that is the world that we're going to live in, right? So, which is where the global sort of MBA came into my head. And I knew that I wanted to start looking at such programs for international business or global management and things like that. That's when the shortlist started. I started looking at it, and I stumbled upon Thunderbird. So Thunderbird is still, I mean, ranked #1 for international business. It's now part of Arizona State. At that point, it was independent. But the big plus with Thunderbird has always been on a global sort of education, right? Because your cohort, literally at any given time on campus, you would have close to 100 nationalities, right, represented. So you don't get that easily elsewhere. And that alumni network spreads far and wide across the globe. So the more I read into that, that became more my sort of dream school. I was like, I need to figure out how to get here. So once I'd zeroed in on that, I also had obviously backups of 2 or 3 universities that I would apply to. I did try for, I remember I did try for Berkeley, did try for Stanford, I tried for Florida, and I tried for Thunderbird. These were the ones that I had shortlisted. Didn't get into any of the others except Thunderbird, thankfully. So for me, that was my dream school. And but I did get into what I wanted to do. And I think one of the things, that helped me was the essay, right? I had good substance to contribute, especially given the field of PR, right? And I got good exposure through the PR agencies I worked with. I got to work with and advise brands like Qualcomm and IBM and BMW and Infosys. So now I had so much meat for my essays. Also, since it's global school as well, I knew that, and I was very keen to like bring in the fact that I also grew up in Zambia. My early years and upbringing was there. So I wanted to bring that in too somehow. And I remembered, like, I mean, for me, the biggest moment of my life was when I got to see Nelson Mandela as a kid, when we visited Soweto. This was right after he got released from prison. So that was a turning, I mean, some instances in your life never will leave you, and something like as monumental as that, right? So I remember opening my essay, my MBA essay with that, and that chance encounter and what that did to me. And then it just, from then on, it was just like a flow, right? So I think all that put together was what helped me get in. And of course, my GMAT score was good. I got, I mean, good is relative, but for me that was good. I got a 700. So for someone would be like, yeah, sure. But for me, this is what helped me, right? Like this is what I needed to get into my school. and I managed to get that. So, yeah.
We spoke about, you spoke about doing this process yourself, and you also touched upon, consultancies. And I think you have an interesting perspective, having done the whole thing yourself twice. And then, and now coming into, sort of helping students do the same. So what is your take on that? Consultancy, yes, no. Doing it yourself, yes, no. What is your opinion?
At the time that I did all this, didn't have much choice in terms of consultancies, and too expensive, right? So we're talking a couple of lakhs. Could never afford that, so couldn't even think about it. Would I have taken it if I could afford it? Sure, definitely, because why not? Because see, at the end of the day, even now, and we tell this to a lot of students, this is your application at the end of the day. This is your life. You're coming to a consultant. What the consultants have done is they've brought all this information, kept it simple and packaged it so that it's easy for you to consume, right? You don't now need to go and Google something and figure a lot of this out. It's been done for you. So your job has become that much easier because it's all given to you. Focus now on your application, focus on what you need to do within these guidelines, right? Now just work on that. And having a helping hand like a consultant or a counselor, it's like you have a sounding board, right? So now you have someone who's on this journey with you. You're not on your own. So it makes a big difference. And we have, so yeah, I mean, I wish I had that opportunity. I never did. If it was at an affordable price like it is now, and mind you, students, some of you still feel that you're paying a lot, but when you look at the grander scheme of things, anywhere from 400 to even $1,000, right now for a consultant is really not that much when you're looking to spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees to go study abroad, right? So it's all a matter of perspective, and you're paying to get this guidance from someone. You're getting a helping hand, but you need to put in the effort, right? That's what I find. There's a bit of a mismatch there between what students expect, that I'm paying you, so I should just be able to sit back and not do anything because you have to do all of it for me. It couldn't be further from the truth. You need to, this is your application, your life. Only you can be authentic with it, right? No, we don't know you that well. Only from what we speak, what you tell us or what you write in your SOP or your essay is what we know. So only then can we help you guide that. But you are going to have to write that. You're going to have to take the tests. You're going to have to put in that effort. You're going to have to tell us what your interest area is so that we can help you decide which universities, right? So it's a two-way street on this. It's a teamwork bit, right? And that teamwork is what's going to make the dream work. So you have to, and students need to realize this, right? And I find that kind of a little wanting nowadays in that sense. And but I wish students would understand that it is a two-way process. It's not pay money, get it done and move on. No, it's your application, especially the good consultants and the ones that if you want to apply to universities that are not sort of partnered with those consultants, right? So if you want to apply to like the Stanfords and Harvards of the world, then you're going to really have to put in that effort and be prepared for it, because this is hardly any effort compared to what effort you're going to have to put in when you actually get to campus. So yeah, I mean, I wish I had a consultant. I didn't, but if you have the opportunity, take one. If you need a sort of helping hand, sounding board, someone to sort of count on, it really can help. And if there's enough resources available today where students may choose not to even hire one, which is fine too, but just be prepared to do all that research and effort yourself.
You mentioned about alumni network, and that as one of the biggest benefits of choosing Thunderbird, for your MBA. So are you still in touch with any of them? Did that ever come back? Did that circle ever close for you, through the alumni network? Or, as an alumni, were you able to?
100%. I mean, I'm still in touch with not just my MBA alumni, I'm still in touch with my undergrad friends. The MBA network obviously is is stupendous. It's spreads far and wide. In India alone, we have I think a little over 500 alumni that are very active. We're constantly in touch on WhatsApp groups. There's also, I mean, Thunderbird's also engaging more with India now. So there's going to be more, there's like, Mumbai is like a hub for Thunderbird as well. So there's a lot more activity there. And then, in fact, I mean, anywhere we go, right, wherever we travel now as a Thunderbird, we have an app and everything. So you can just post if you're traveling. So if I'm going to Dubai, for example, I just need to post there, and whoever the T-Birds are there, they'll raise their hands, and then I can meet them over there. Same applies to any country, any city we go to pretty much in the world. There's always a Thunderbird around. That's the beauty of it.
Did you ever have a moment where you said, wow, I love the fact that I decided to study abroad?
I mean, so many moments. when I look at my friends list and see people from literally almost every country in the globe, yes. But I mean, I think for me, the big one was getting to play some of the top golf courses in Arizona, all thanks to studying in Thunderbird. Dream come true for a golfer, and playing some really designer courses at very affordable prices. That was like, I made the right choice. Not only to come to Thunderbird, being in Arizona, like it was like, it's Mecca. So it was bliss. So I think, yeah, something like that. And I mean, I think our just gatherings on campus were just unbelievable, the kind of exposure you get, right? And we used to, I mean, undergrad is a whole different ballgame. I don't think I'm going to delve into that. That was way too much fun to talk about on camera. But we jokingly in our MBA, we'd call it sometimes a master's in beer administration. So, right. So, I mean, those are the lighter side of things too. So a lot of good memories, without doubt.
If you had to like sort of give like you just, for example, met somebody who's going to study abroad, you know, I mean, you meet them every day, but you know, just off the like street, for example, you met somebody and they said, you know, I'm flying off in the next couple of months. What are the top 3 things you would tell them? Like maybe pieces of advice or things that you would tell them.
I'd definitely say learn to think for yourself. First thing. Second thing would be like be open and adaptive to other cultures, right? Learn from them. And let's see. I would say that, yeah, I mean, you need to be able to sort of be prepared to do things on your own a lot, right? And it's something that can't be stressed enough, because I don't think, especially a lot of us who come from India, where someone's always doing something for you, right? From that culture to a culture of completely DIY, right? Largely. So be prepared to roll up your sleeves, get into it, get your hands dirty, and do stuff and learn how that is to be done, right? So I would say do this. And lastly, yeah, try not to judge. Very hard to do. Keep a very open mind whenever you go abroad, because your experiences are going to be aplenty. So just treat them as experiences and see what you can learn from them. And stay calm, being the last one too. Sorry. It's very 100%. Easy to get very easy to get anxious, very easy to get nervous, very easy to worry, right? So important to just learn to breathe and be calm in new situations, because chances are you're not the only one who's feeling that. Take some assurance in that fact that for sure someone else in that room is feeling the same way as you.
Wonderful. I think that brings us to a lovely end for this, 50th episode. I think so many takeaways for students to sort of really like think about. Like I think the biggest thing that we've done through this episode is like a perspective on studying abroad. The nitty-gritties will be something that we will all that you will eventually get to learn anyway, right? Like how to fill an application form and what to do here and what to do there. But that's the legwork. But the perspective with which you do it, the reason why, I think, at least for me, I'm feeling like super happy that we've touched upon that today. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences and tips. I'm sure you can expect a lot of requests on LinkedIn right after this. So
happy to. Thank you so much for having this conversation. Always enjoy chatting with you, Shruti. Thanks so much for doing this, and happy 50th episode to the Yocket Connect series. And happy to take questions on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, guys. If you have questions, sort of do drop them at the end of this video in the comment section. We will try and answer as many as we can, as soon as we can. And we'd love to, sort of, we're a friendly bunch, download the app, subscribe to us on Yocket, find us on social media, hit us up. We're very happy to answer your queries at any time. All right. Thank you so much, Bharath. Thank you so much, everybody.
Guys.
See you guys with a new episode with, another study abroad aspirant, and see you soon. Stay tuned.